wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm your host, Joe the Panther, the third. And man, this is the second week of UK Wrestling Month. And man, I've had so many awesome wrestlers from the UK that have come on through. People from Savage, people from CPW, Kiara, Alfie, Shorty, man, the names go on and on and on. But I can't forget one of my original homies. You know her. You love her. She's back. Welcome back. Give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Katia. Welcome back, Katia. Welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me. Hello to everybody listening.
Yes, welcome. So what have you been up to since the last time we hung out here in the Dudes at Ringside studios?
Um, as much wrestling as possible, as much training as possible. I have made some debuts at different promotions, which has been fantastic. I have trained with different people, different trainers, keeping myself as busy as I can in the wrestling community, whilst going through a bit of a personal and professional change at the same time. Things happen, people happen, and as a result you have to adapt to those situations that are thrown at you.
Okay. So have you had any chance to see any wrestlers that you haven't had a chance to wrestle yet on the Instagram or the YouTubes that you've been wanting to wrestle with and you haven't had the opportunity yet?
Um, of course. I mean, in theory, anybody that appears on any social media is somebody that I want to work with. I believe that you can learn. I remember mentioning this in the last podcast of you can learn something from every single person that you work with, whether it be how they interact with the crowd, whether it be a new move, something small or something major. So everybody that I see is somebody that I want to work with because who knows what I might learn from that person. So there's a lot of people right now that I am very much hoping though that I can work with, not necessarily more than others, but I've seen more of their work. Ruby Roberts is somebody that I'm very excited to hopefully get a chance to wrestle with soon. I very much like her work. I've watched her wrestle both in person and on YouTube and other videos, pay-per-views, etc. She's probably arguably my number one right now for who I'd like to work with. There are some other incredible wrestlers as well. Emily Hayden. The list goes on. Throw me anybody, and I'll happily work with you.
I think you and Alfie would from CPW would make a really good match. I mean, she does a lot of hardcore matches. Would you be down if they booked you for a hardcore match?
I mean, it always depends on exactly what is the almost the script that you're given. I'm down for hardcore, but I'm also. It really depends on how much you want, how much of a risk they would want me to kind of take. I very much value my body. My body is literally how I make my money. You can't really be a wrestler if you are broken. So yeah, it really depends on the sort of level of risk and what's not to kind of really get me wanting to do a hardcore match. I would never say never. I don't say never to, or I don't say no to many things, new opportunities and new chances to learn. But yeah, see what would be offered first, I think, before I would say yes.
Yeah. So, with you being if if it's the ones I do at the beginning in the beginning, but if a lot of now the new fans that are watching the chat on the Joe Panther variety show, and they're kind of new to you, a lot of my American fans, just give them a summary of you from the start, of your career.
Oh, the start of my career. Started off backyard wrestling. Don't recommend it unless you have somebody that actually knows what they're doing. Got myself injured from not knowing how to do anything. Decided to turn to professional wrestling and actually get taught how to wrestle. Wrestled for a few years, moved to Scotland, and then since then been on and off wrestling for a variety of reasons due to injuries and life. I started wrestling when I was 15. So was backyard wrestling when I was 14, and then professional when I was 15. So, the joys of becoming an adult, being in a different country, very far away from home, away from family, you have to worry about how do you pay the bills, a job, etc. So spent a while dealing with how do I deal with life. And then last year I got back into the scene, started training again, and started to do shows once more. So that's kind of my history. It's been a very long, arduous process with a lot of setbacks on the way. I have a thing for seemingly getting injured all the time, so that hasn't been great. But yeah, that's kind of me in sort of a nutshell for my sort of my history of how I started.
Mm. So, like, with you doing the promotion you wrestle with, is there any like young wrestlers that are there now that you could see that could be where you are right now in the promotion in a few years?
I mean, considering that I am still technically with Renegade, Renegade, we have had the same people in the company in the promotion for well, since I last spoke with you, there have been no new additions.
Mm.
So realistically, I kind of hope nobody's where I am. I hope that they're all better in like a few years. I don't want anybody to have been out because of injuries or anything like that, which kind of is my career, is just injuries and then coming back and then injuring again and then coming back. Um, so I hope that everybody is better, is getting more shows, more opportunities, and kind of where I am at the moment. Um, so yeah, nobody really. There are some wonderful up and coming talents, though, for sure. People that are coming up, as much as I hate to kind of admit it, Iona Sky is fantastic, and so is Jade Black, London Lovelust. They're the I guess the youth of the future, the youth of professional wrestling down the line.
Jade's awesome. When you see Jade at practice, give her a good tap on the shoulder, tell her Joe Panther says what's up, and he definitely would love to have her come back on. And everybody part of Renegade, I haven't had on, Cat and a bunch of others, even the main promoter that we talked for a while, and she's been busy, so I didn't get a chance to speak to her in a long time. Um, have you ever thought of traveling to the States or to any other country, like maybe to the States or?
Yes. Believe that I mentioned the last time that I have a lot of friends and family that live in the States. My best friend lives in the States. Practically everybody that I really care about and love lives in the States. So yeah, I would love to be able to make my way over to the States and wrestle in front of my friends, wrestle in front of my family. That the people that have made me at the end of the day, the people that have continued to push me. So yeah, I would love to be able to wrestle in front of them, and that's definitely probably my dream. I will take any opportunity that I kind of can. If I get asked to go to any country, I'll say, well, of course, why wouldn't I? But yeah, I think that my dream for where I am in my career is definitely to kind of, yeah, go to the States, wrestle in front of my family and friends, and just try and be as happy as I possibly can be in the industry, and take whatever opportunities may arise.
Awesome. Yeah, there's quite a few American female wrestlers and male wrestlers that are over here that would be a total great match for you. There's one you should definitely check her out on Instagram or on YouTube. Danny Moe, the Neon Nightmare.
Okay.
and her husband, Facade, the Neon Ninja. They're both really good competitors. I've seen them in action like twice, and actually met them twice, and they kind of laughed when I saw them the second time. They're like, "Oh my god, you again?" I'm like, "Yeah, ah, it's us. We're back." Um, yeah. Um, do you have you collected anything since you've last time we spoke?
Collected.
Like collect
What?
pops and like Legos and stuff like that.
No, I'm not really somebody that does that really does that. The only sort of things that I wouldn't really say that I collect them, but the would probably be like gemstones. But I wouldn't say I collect them. So, yeah, but I'm not really a collector. I'm terrible for keeping things and not getting rid of them. So I think if I became a collector, my house would be more of a mess than it is.
Oh, jeez. Um,
Mm.
do you have any pets, Katya?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. What
One
kind of
day.
food? Oh, here we go. This is my favorite question I always ask every wrestler since I've been doing my solo fun. What is your normal like week like before a show?
Oh, before a show. Okay. So, it will be the exact same as it would be for any other week. I don't kind of vary it if I'm on a show or not. I train consistently in the gym Monday to Friday for an hour to 3 hours a day. Depends on what the sort of thing is that I'm doing, whether it be arm day or leg day or whatnot. I do 2 hour cardio sessions also within that week whenever I kind of have a chance, traditionally a Monday and a Friday. I also do very strenuous neck exercises on my Monday and Fridays as well. So I focus a lot on the gym, do that, eat clean as I always do. And then it depends on what day the show is on. If the show is on a Saturday, then I will see what time the promoter wants me. Potentially go to wrestling training if I've got a chance to, or if I don't, then it will be do as much hair and makeup as I can before I get to the venue, because it's a lot easier to do it at home with a mirror that that's a big mirror rather than trying to do it out of a tiny handheld one. So yeah, kind of doing it as much as I can before going, and then just going. I don't really have like a I have to do this. I have this sort of thing that like a good luck thing that I have to do or anything. Yeah, my week is honestly just the same as every other week. I don't think that I would want to change it, because it would almost get me um almost out of sequence. Like if I'm not doing a show and I change everything up because I'm not doing that show, or I change things up because I am doing a show, it doesn't give me that flexibility then for what happens if you get a last minute booking, or what happens if the show gets cancelled, or for some reason you're unable to go. So just keeping that consistency up, it's the best way kind of for me to work, really, or else I don't want to work.
Yeah, that's it's always with like podcasting and wrestling. Like a guest could get sick and then can't do the podcast with like me. I've had a guest get sick and then I try to book them again and they're crazy. Their schedule just does not work with me and I have to wait a year. There's some people that couldn't talk to back in the day. Now I'm like, oh my god, they just came on the show. I'm like right before I end the show today. I had wow. I'll tell you when we're done recording. I had her on and I was so happy. She was like a really big guest. Riho. I had Riho, finally got Riho on the podcast.
Ah.
And man, I in my when I got off, I was in the crouch position so happy in my bed. I was crying. I was like, "Oh my god, I finally had Riho." Like nobody understands how much I think Riho is like awesome. Like that's another competitor that I would love to see you fight is Riho. And like that's a big name. If like most people, if you guys are not familiar with Rio, they're watching this or listening to this, go on YouTube and look her name up. You will find tons of matches by Riho. So my last question for you, Katia, if there was a young male or female that wanted to get into the wrestling business and they did not know where to turn, what kind of advice would you give them?
Right now, social media is your best friend. You can find things on basically every social media platform, which is a massive beauty of now. When I started, social media was obviously it existed, but you kind of needed to know the people. Whereas now it's just you can come across anybody anywhere. You have places like Reddit where there's subreddits for wrestling training, wrestling schools. You can also find wrestling in your local area, look for promotions and whatnot, and ask the promoter, ask the wrestlers that are on the show, where is it that you train or trained if you no longer continue to go to a school. Get that sort of those feels out there. Wrestling is probably much more accessible than people realize that it is, because you have that beauty of being able to interact with wrestlers at shows, even just messaging them on social media. You have that opportunity. So yeah, have a look on social media, find where your local school is, also do some research into the trainers as well. You want to make sure that obviously the trainer that is teaching you is somebody that can teach you the aspects that you want. If you want to learn how to do lucha, then obviously you'd be best off trying to find somebody who can teach you lucha rather than somebody that can't, etc. But just getting into the ring, experiencing what it's like for the first time, and just having as much fun as you probably can. That's what I definitely recommend the most.
Awesome. Thank you again, Katia, for taking my taking my chance to come on the podcast. We know you have a busy schedule with just training, and nothing but the best for you in all your upcoming matches. This really means a lot to me for you to be the number 2 guest on the UK Wrestling Month. I'm Joe Panther the Third,
I'm Katia the Soviet Suicide.
and we will catch you in the next one. Good day, everybody.